Hi, I'm Gianna Bossone.
I'm Carissa Recchia.
And I'm Sam Osetec.
And welcome to Wayne's World!
This week we are learning about the 4 academic disciplines.
The 4 disciplines are the arts, humanities, social sciences, and natural sciences.
Today we're going to be talking about the natural sciences. That's a branch of science which deals with the physical world.
You may be asking yourself what is considered a natural science. Natural science includes chemistry, geology, physics, and biology. First, we're going to look at chemistry. Some subcategories of chemistry include organic, analytical, and physical. Some major learning outcomes include solving and explaining problems, demonstrating laboratory skills, presenting results, and understanding chemical theories and practices. What can you do with a degree? First, there's food chemistry. This deals with the 3 biological components of food: carbs, lipids, and proteins. Environmental chemistry studies how chemicals interact with the natural environment. Agricultural chemistry is concerned with the substances and chemical reactions that are involved with the production, protection, and use of crops and livestock. And chemical engineering is research and development of new materials and processes that involve chemical reactions. Geology. Geology is the study of Earth and the materials that make it up. It's the study of how our organisms are on the planet and how these things have changed over time. What do geologists do? They work to better understand our planet's history and predict how the past may influence our future. Some advanced geology degrees include paleontology, mineralogy, and volcanology. Physics. The focus of physics is on the laws and nature and the types of properties of matter in the universe. Some areas of physics include electronics, optics and waves, magnetism, thermodynamics, and quantum physics. A fun fact is that it is one of the oldest academic disciplines. Biology. The focus of biology is on animals, people, and other organisms. Some subdivisions include molecular and cell biology, human biology, evolutionary biology, developmental biology, micro, and immunology. Some topics often covered include macromolecules, diffusion and osmosis, homeostasis, evolution, Darwin, genetics, brain function, and body system.
For anatomy and physiology, a natural sciences class, students need to learn a lot of specific information in a short period of time. The New Science of Learning book offers some strategies to help with these classes. The book talks about the many different factors that can affect learning and how to use them to your advantage. Many anatomy teachers use a hierarchy organization system to help students learn. For example, things are often organized as atom, organelle, cell, tissue, organ system, and then finally the person. This can help students to see how different parts of the natural world build upon each other to create the world that we live in. Another good learning strategy is finding similarities in new material. In anatomy lab, we first learn all the bones and then their various bony features. This helps when we learn muscles to learn the various origin and insertion points. It also helps in naming some of the muscles, such as the anterior tibialis, which is near the tibia bone on the anterior side of the leg. These learning strategies can make it easier to understand the natural world and make a difficult class such as anatomy and physiology more manageable.
I'm a sophomore nursing major and have taken a number of natural science courses throughout high school and college this far. I've learned a lot about what works best for me in terms of my learning, and I've found that it's situational depending on the class. Last year in chemistry, I found the separation of lab and lecture provided me with the setting of traditional and progressive learning, which were both effective in their own ways. In the traditional style lecture, I was able to sit and listen to the professor and take in the information in a more individualized way, and then was able to take this to lab and work with a partner in a more progressive style.
I'm a sophomore occupational therapy major. So far, I've taken 4 natural sciences courses: Bio 101, Bio 102, Physics 101, and I'm currently in anatomy. anatomy. One thing that I enjoy about Quinnipiac is office hours that are provided. Office hours are a guide by the side style of learning that helps me to ask more individual questions and gain a better relationship with my professors. In our lab classes, we work in small groups, help me to learn in a more progressive style and collaborate with my peers and hear their different opinions.
Like Sam, I'm also a sophomore occupational therapy student. For me, science has never been my favorite subject to learn. In high school and so far in college, I have had different professors take approaches to teaching me these subjects, and some ways worked better than others. Taking physics, for instance, I find that seeing an example of what we are learning helps me to make connections and gain a better understanding. A combination of both traditional and progressive education is what works best for me in learning this subject. In my physics class, we not only learn formulas, but we are then given the opportunity to do experiments to further our learning. Having a foundation and being able to build off of it helps me to remember these things more long term. In this next clip, you will see us having a balloon attached to a straw and a string. When the balloon is released, it flies to the other end of the string. This was done when we were learning about reactions and actions in physics class. Being able to see how every action does have a reaction made the concept easier for us to understand. So when you're studying for one of your natural science classes, what's the approach that you take?
So usually I first type all of my notes, then I make that into a Quizlet, and I do the Quizlet a couple times, and then I usually end by reading through my notes.
And how does that method work for you?
I think it helps me keep everything more organized in my head by typing it in like sequential order. It helps me to be more organized, it helps me understand it better, so I found it's been very helpful.
Okay, so now since that's your style of studying, do you find that a lecture type classroom is better than a more interactive classroom, or what are your thoughts on that?
I personally prefer a lecture because I think it's easier to understand. It's more straightforward. It's just the way the teacher teaches is like easy to me.
As a communications major, how do you feel about having to take a natural sciences course?
So as a communications major, I still have to complete all of the UC requirements for the school, so I have to take a natural sciences course. So in order to fulfill this, I took an online summer course. It was Intro to Biological Anthropology, and I took a lab alongside that.
What were your thoughts on this course?
So I actually found it very interesting. Admittedly, I am not someone who's super into sciences. That's why I chose to become a communications major. But I really liked the anthropology aspect of it because I'm very interested in how cultures interact with each other. And it was really interesting to see how biologically anthropology comes together. So we studied bones, we studied evolution, we studied all sorts of things like that. And so it actually was very interesting going into it. I was like, I don't want to take this. It's just going to be a throwaway course. But at the end of it, I was very happy with it, and I feel like I learned a lot.
How do you feel this course contributed to your learning?
So I am specifically a journalism major, and I think as a journalist, it's really important to be well-versed in all sorts of things, whether it's politics, science, arts. So I think taking this course really helps expand my knowledge of things, and just being able to know things about science help, because say I'm interviewing someone one day and they are an anthropologist. I need to have background information on that and be able to actually communicate with them, be able to have background information, ask the proper questions. So I think that taking a science course as a communications major is really helpful, because even if you're not a journalism major in the communications field, you could end up working in PR for a science company or filming something that has to do with science. So I just think that everybody, even if your concentration isn't necessarily science, should take a natural sciences course and should definitely keep themselves well versed within natural science.
In conclusion, there are different ways of learning, some of which benefit some academic disciplines more than others. Our main focus today was on the different styles of teaching and learning that have proven to work best in the natural science classes according to various students. Almost everyone expressed how traditional learning works best in natural science lectures. However, progressive learning in hands-on situations enhances the material that was learned traditionally. This can be surprising based on what we've learned in class, as most people would prefer a progressive setting. I believe that in other academic disciplines such as the humanities and fine arts, progressive learning is ideal because the material learned can be discussed more openly from different perspectives, whereas there tends to only be one-sided concrete information learned in the natural sciences.